So think of any object. There are many objects of our perception. We perceive many objects, many things, many people. Many things become objects of our perception. And let's take, for example, a room. Let's take, for example, this room right here. And we can perceive this room, just like anything else, in many different ways. We could hear about it. We could think about it. I hope you do think about it when you're not here. You could think about it. I mean, you could be dreaming about it. You could see a picture of it. Or you could be in the room, like you're right now. So these are different ways of perceiving same object, this room. Yet, we think that being in the room is the most real experience of the room. And how do we know that? What makes you think, or do you think, that that's the most real experience of it? For the most part, that's what we think. Like, you hear of a car, well, it's not as good as having it. And therefore we think having a car is more of a real experience of the vehicle than, let's say, dreaming about it, or thinking about it, or viewing a picture of it or video.
Sensory input. Sensory input.
Sensory input.
I can feel it's hot, I can feel the floor underneath me.
But how does that make it more real?
Because if I'm just thinking about it, I'm not going to get the sensations of being here. I'll smell the incense, I don't feel the floor underneath me, I don't feel the heat, I don't notice how many people are around.
Okay, I'll get back to it. I'll let sure, your input's very much appreciated. Thank you.
I think you need to be in the room and outside of the room, sometimes dreaming of the room, sometimes thinking about it. Then you can have the most real experience of what is it inside being the room.
Okay.
Like, be inside sometimes, be outside, sometimes dream about it, sometimes think about it, and then be in the room.
Yeah, it's a good one. Just like with people. I mean, you may be with a person and have experience of that person, but actually sometimes people separate just so they could be more objective about each other. That's a good one. I like it. Click. All right. Do you have a hand up?
When you're in the room, you can do all of those things. You can have all of those experiences at once when you're in the room. You can have a photo of it, you can look at it, you can hear about it.
Okay, but what if you're in the room and you can't hear about it?
You can talk about it out loud and listen to yourself. I love this color, I love the pictures.
But if we separate these experiences, because we tend to think, just like this harmonium, right now I'm holding it, that if somehow or other bring myself to think this is the most real experience of it, that dreaming about it is not as real, that thinking about it is not as real, that hearing about it is not as real, that viewing pictures of it is not as real. But really, when I hold it, then now I'm in touch with it. Now I have real experience of it. Yes. There was one hand back there first. Yes.
Well, I've heard that when we do see things, we're still taking the past with us while we're looking at something. We're not seeing it as it clearly is without some type of judgment and memory.
Good one. Very good. Social conditioning, I mean, you name it. After all, we're conscious units that move about the world and gather experiences, and these experiences form our input filters. Mia was first, and then gentleman over here. She was first. 1 sec, sorry. She had her hands.
Maybe thinking about it and
to be fair.
Maybe thinking about it and manifesting it inside of you makes the experience more real when you are actually doing it. And you think about it and you think hard about it, and it's something that's really spiritual for you. The experience overall, when you play it, becomes almost dreamlike state.
Yeah.
Can I just add one quick comment, since I have the mic, so I can exploit the position, being the loudest guy in the room. Yeah, like in the Bhagavad Gita, you know, the Indian wisdom jewel classic says that many of the enjoyments are more pronounced when we think about it than when we get it. Like a friend of mine used to tell me, all things look nice until you get them. That's a good one. Okay. Yeah,
well, I was just going to, when you're actually physically in the room, your focus is, you have both your eyes and your ears, you have everything focused on what's going on in the room. But if you're just looking at a picture, the mundane world can take over, the telephone, somebody in the back room says, hey, and you have all the other influences which may be more negative than the lack of negativity that you experience while you're here, that can cause your mind to drift away from the thought of how nice this room is just because you have a pretty picture sitting on your desk. Just the focus that you're here, you have all of your sensory perception going for you.
I guess that's why we come here. We're not just looking at a picture of Krishna Lounge at home. Yay! Look at the picture of Krishna Lounge. Thank you. Yeah.
But at the same time, with how fleeting our mind is, sometimes, like when you're actually within a situation, it's harder to actually pay attention to thinking about that situation because your mind always wants to go elsewhere. You know, your mind doesn't want to stay fixed on one thing. It's always trying to find, you know, oh, what's the next thing I can get, and what's the thing after that.
So what's wrong with mind taking off from the object of examination?
What's wrong with it?
Because that seems to be the assumption here.
Well, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with it. I'm just saying that, you know, you get less of you in some ways get less of an experience of the situation you're in because of that.
All right.
I was going to say, it could create problems if you're trying to do something. You know, like, I guess procrastination's a good one. You know, like, you have an assignment or something, right? And then you're supposed to do it by a certain time, but you don't want to do it. You want to watch this video, or you want to do something else, or you're talking with your friends. So in that way, like, you know you're supposed to do it, but the mind is like, no, do this, you know, because you're attached to it. So I would say...
So you're responding to what he said?
Yeah.
To distraction?
Yeah, I would say that it could distract you in different ways.
Okay, that's the last one, and then unless there's some burning hands. Yeah.
I was going to say maybe meditating on the wrong things, sort of the procrastination, just meditating on the wrong things, not things that that are important, more so than others.
We should be meditating on more important things. So to go back to different conscious experience of a same object, Vedas, the spiritual jewels of India, say that the most experience of anything comes by hearing. Comes by hearing. Like, I'll give you an example. And I think by all of your input, we've kind of expanded our understanding of sensory experience of something. But sure, you know, by being present in the room, you acquire certain information about the room. By seeing a picture of it, you acquire certain information about it. By hearing like that and so on. But the Vedas said that by hearing about the thing, you get to have more of an awesome experience of the thing than just by being in physical presence of it. And I'll give you an example. Let's say you don't know what a diamond is, and someone gives you a diamond, and you think, okay, you know, it's interesting, looks nice, you know, for a while. You keep it maybe for a week or two. maybe a month, and then you toss it. Then later on you do some reading on the internet and have a heart attack. Or, it's just a crude example. Well, you can relate to it. Or you may have a sophisticated electronic device in your hands, but what's your experience of it? What's the depth of your experience of that electronic device? If you don't know what its function is, you don't know what its connection is with the world, you don't know what the world's needs are, and how this device provides for these needs, or maybe doesn't provide for these needs, or maybe damages us, or we don't know how it's related. But if you hear about it specifically from an authentic source, in other words, from a wisdom source, that's the most awesome experience of a thing you can have. And one thing that any conscious living entity, unless we're really turning into a bunch of vegetables, every conscious being wants to know the deepest truths. And when I say deepest truth, there's one truth about this harmonium, that it's hard. But the deeper truth is that it can create music, beautiful music. Or even deeper, that music could be used for spiritual purpose. And like this, deeper and deeper understanding you have of a thing, better it gets. So everyone who's conscious, not too busy shopping, naturally wants to know the deepest truths about themselves and this world and the relationship between the two. Why? So that we can, once you find out the deepest truths about this world, then you can properly relate to it, so you can experience harmony, and so you can experience the maximized happiness and benefit. And this comes, therefore, and we see, look at us, just wandering about the world and just experiencing it, viewing pictures of it. Internet key jive. Viewing pictures of it, firsthand observing it. How much do we learn? How much do we learn? And how much do you learn when you meet someone, or meet someone in the form of a book and any kind of other media through which sound can be transported? How much can you learn from a wise person? So therefore the Vedas say, by meeting a wise person, and by hearing from the wise person, you can learn so much quicker, and have a truly awesome experience of the world, more complete and therefore more real experience of a world. Just like let's say you find a microphone, and you find a really expensive Shure mic that costs $900. Okay, but you don't know this is a Shure mic. You don't even know that there's an amplifier, that the sound can be amplified, and you use it for, I don't know, mixing a soup or whatever, kneading a dough for bread dough or something. So how real of experience of a microphone is that? And two more things. One thing is, I already mentioned this awesome experience of a thing. In other words, awesome means that it covers a whole lot of aspects. Like, for example, earlier we talked, there are many people who are bothered by many things in this world. There's the vegan movement. They don't like the fact that, poor animals are being exploited, treated in all kinds of unethical ways, and therefore they feel they should do something about it. And certainly they're right. That's one incongruous thing with the truth. And anyone who's a little bit sensitive to or feeling a need to be authentic